Government asks Parliament for additional $44 billion. Mudslide destroys 2 Linden homes. And US okays Venezuelan oil exports. I am Enrico Belfort, and this is Uncut News. Here's the news happening. Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. The government has overspent the people's money yet again. Today, they sent Minister Ashni Singh to ask the National Assembly for an additional $44.443 billion in supplementary funding, as well as an approval for $2.9 billion in advances from the contingency fund. The request comes about 3 months after the National Assembly authorized an additional $44.8 billion for, quote, major transformative projects in the housing, water, education, public works, and local government sectors, which then followed the approval of the $552.9 billion budget in February. According to the finance minister, a majority of the money will go to infrastructure projects nationwide. The police are currently seeking 48-year-old Mohammed Ramzan Shahid. Shahid is accused of beating and stabbing to death 85-year-old Samintra Saw. According to the police, Shahid killed Saw during a deadly robbery which was allegedly plotted by the woman's great-niece, 37-year-old Roshani Bazdio. Bazdio told police that she had left the door unlocked that evening in order to allow Shahid to enter, but according to her, Shahid was told not to harm the woman in the process of robbing her. Bazdio is currently in police custody, whilst Shahid is still on the run. 22-year-old Stephanie Gamble, the school teacher accused of murdering her grandmother Agatha Gamble, is currently hospitalized at the psychiatric ward of the Georgetown Public Hospital under police guard. According to a report, she was grappling with postpartum depression prior to Sunday's attack against her grandmother. Stephanie's mother said she started acting strangely shortly after giving birth to her child over a month ago. Thus, she believes that if her daughter had received treatment earlier, this would have never happened. As such, she hopes the courts would consider this and give her the treatment she so clearly needs, as jail time will obviously not help. A second terminal at the Chedijagan International Airport may be built in the coming years to serve the growing number of incoming passengers. According to the president, we will reach 1 million visitors per year by 2025 based on current forecasts. Because of the rising number of visitors, as well as the arrival of new airlines, he reasoned that facilities needed to be improved to accommodate them. But first, could we at least finish the current one before we start talking about adding another terminal? I mean, come on, we don't even have a proper duty-free shop there or even a food court currently. Just one step at a time, please. This morning, 2 homes were destroyed after a private contractor doing improper excavation work triggered a mudslide at Poker Street, Wismar in Linden. Despite this serious damage to 2 homes, there were no reports of casualties. The fire service is currently assessing the scene. However, they have yet to ascertain what exactly was the purpose of the excavation work, as the operator fled the scene immediately after the landslide. It's November, which means it's officially robbery season. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, K-9 services. These people even have drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo fog lamp, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, a lot to Lamar Street, and Southern Legal Century for this sweet tea. China has just donated a US $200,000 cash grant to the Ministry of Health to procure medical supplies. But wait, there's more. The embassy will also donate medical supplies worth about $20,000. Dr. Anthony expressed his appreciation to the Chinese government for its continued support. Guyana and China have a long relationship, especially in the area of health. In fact, this year, Guyana and China celebrated 50 years of bilateral relations. Denying that it was responsible for any destruction, the owner of the MV Tradewind Passion is arguing that the incident resulted from unforeseen circumstances. In fact, the ship's owner says the bridge failed to inform it that it was on a collision course, while also stating that the lights displayed on the structure were misleading and or not in compliance with regulations or up to international standards. Wow, wrong and strong. Now for news from the diaspora. Democrats in the United States House of Representatives picked Hakeem Jeffries to serve as their leader beginning in January, succeeding Nancy Pelosi, who has finally decided to quit her side gig as the party caucus leader to spend more time on her true passion, insider trading. I mean, seriously, look up her stock portfolio. She's like the female Warren Buffett. She never loses. Anyway, Jeffries' victory makes him the first African American to hold a key leadership post in the House or Senate. The Guyana government has chastised Jeffries in the past for his opinions on Guyanese policy matters and has been seen as an ally to the opposition, especially seeing a majority of the Guyanese diaspora are within his district. This is clearly of great importance to them. Additionally, Jeffries did not reply to an offer to meet with the president when he visited D.C. earlier this year. Do you feel those winds of change around the world? Because I do. They're actually a bit chilly if you ask me. And speaking of winds of change, Biden has given Chevron the go-ahead to restart oil production in Venezuela. Almost 3 years after Trump banned operations there, Chevron got a 6-month license to pump and export crude to the United States, following the resumption of talks between America and Venezuela. According to Bloomberg, the first shipment is expected by late December. But there is a catch. No new drilling is allowed. The U.S. can cancel at any time, and the authorization specifically excludes the payment of taxes and royalties to the Venezuela government. Despite this, the agreement will barely even help American consumers in this energy crisis. But it's huge for Venezuela, whose economy has been pummeled with heavy U.S. sanctions, and of course, terrible mismanagement of their oil wealth. Nonetheless, Venezuela's oil industry seems to be recovering to a certain extent. This summer's spike in oil prices and other factors has allowed their state oil company, PDVSA, to double its output over the past 2 years. In fact, Venezuela is the only other nation behind Guyana with a high projected gross domestic product rate for 2020. According to reports, Venezuela is set to experience a GDP growth of 10%, whilst Guyana is set at 52%.
As an independent online news entity, being politically objective can cost you a lot of money in lost sponsorship opportunities. That's because most local companies are often too scared to associate themselves with a news entity that is uncompromising with the truth. We do appreciate our sponsors, as their support is what has allowed us to maintain our integrity without fear and remain dedicated to you, our viewers. Every night, thousands of viewers rely on Uncut News because they are tired of the biased and poorly presented mainstream media in Guyana. But to truly compete, we need your help to grow Uncut News from being the most watched online news to the most watched news in Guyana, period. Help us by becoming a monthly subscriber today. There are special rewards at every subscription level, including your name in the credits, personalized gifts, and more. Your monthly contribution helps us to stay independent by spending less time worrying about paying the bills and more time on keeping you informed. So click the link in the description of this video and become a subscriber today.
Attention truck owners, if you're not dropping at Powered Automotive, you're wasting your money. Powered Automotive has all the major parts for all models of DAF, Freightliner, Mach, International, and more. No need to knock your belly here. They have all the parts you need at prices you can afford. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles, or call or WhatsApp them on telephone number 6970171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for our Uncut News Fuse Poll question of the day. Every day we pose the question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Last night I asked how you feel about the pace of investment in Guyana. Dimitri V says, I think the pace at which they're going about seeking outside investors is actually one of the few admirable things that the government is doing. I agree. Because Ghana is woefully behind the times in numerous facets of society, and they need to catch up with the rest of the world. Also, no visa travel opens Ghana and its citizens to the world, which is good for the economy. And it's also good for people's mindsets. I mean, come on, travel, it expands your horizons. Anyway, he also says, they just have to be mindful that they aren't letting their investment partners dictate how the nation is run. Side note, I do think they need to open better travel routes to nations in South America, because it's alarming that you need to fly out of the continent if you want to travel to somewhere like Colombia. Indeed, it makes no sense. I also think there needs to be direct flights to Brazil. Rob Peters says this is a good thing, but it must be monitored at all times. There are some individuals that would let certain things slide, and that's where the corruption begins. Money is a temptress, and must be monitored very closely if Ghana is to become a thriving nation, or nobody's going to want to invest. Indeed, nobody wants to work with a corrupt business partner. Troy DeWeaver says they're moving in the right direction. They need the help, which they really do need help with everything. Just hold on and wait for me. Ha-ha! Indeed, you better hurry up, or you'll miss out. And finally, Jay Jiram says, make hay whilst the sun is hot. The faster the better. The momentum is now. Hopefully these investments will benefit the ordinary people of Ghana. I fully agree. I want the development. Let's just not forget about the people in the progress. Now for tonight's question. The US has resumed Venezuelan oil exports. Do you think this will affect us in Guyana at all? Why or why not? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.